I want you to listen to this quietly, maybe with headphones on, because this isn't a story meant to be told loudly. It's the kind of story that feels like a confession I've carried with me ever since it happened. I used to think my neighbor was just a quiet person, the kind you don't notice much, the kind who never waves, never talks, and never causes trouble, which in Malaysia is usually something people respect. His house was right next to mine, close enough that at night I could hear his gate open or his back door creak. But close living is normal where I'm from, so I never thought much about it. The first strange thing wasn't something I saw, it was something I smelled, a faint scent that drifted into my room late at night, like burnt leaves mixed with something sweet and rotten. At first I told myself it was incense, because burning incense is normal, especially for older people, and I didn't want to think too much about it. But then I noticed something that didn't feel right, because the smell only came when his house was completely dark, with no lights on at all. It usually happened after midnight, when the whole neighborhood was quiet and even the dogs stopped barking. One night, during a sudden blackout, the smell was stronger than ever, thick enough that it made my head feel light and my chest feel tight. Curiosity is a dangerous thing, especially at night. But I followed the smell anyway, telling myself I would just take a quick look and go back inside. Our houses were separated by a narrow passage that never saw sunlight, even during the day. And walking through it at night felt like stepping into a place where sound didn't travel properly. That was where I found it, hidden behind his house under a loose zinc sheet that looked like it had been moved many times before. I lifted the sheet slowly, my hands already shaking before I even saw what was underneath. There was an altar. It wasn't a religious altar, not Buddhist, not Hindu, not anything familiar, and the moment I saw it, my body reacted before my mind did. Black candles had melted into thick, uneven shapes, their wax pooled like something that had been left to bleed and harden. Small dolls made of cloth sat in a circle, their bodies stuffed unevenly with hair that looked real stitched into their heads. Rusty nails were pushed through their chests, some bent, some crooked, like they had been hammered in a hurry. There were torn pieces of photographs scattered around, faces scratched out so deeply that the paper was torn through. In the center was a bowl filled with dark liquid that reflected the candlelight in a way that made me feel sick. The night felt heavier the longer I stood there, and the silence pressed against my ears until they started ringing. Then I saw something that made my stomach drop completely. One of the photos wasn't of a stranger. It was of my house. Not the whole house, but my window taken from an angle that meant whoever took it had been standing very close. I didn't hear him walk up behind me. I only felt warm breath near my ear, close enough that my skin prickled. When he whispered my name, it wasn't angry or loud. It was calm, like he had been expecting me to find it. I ran. I didn't scream, I didn't look back, and I didn't stop until I was inside my house with the door locked behind me. That night, I didn't sleep at all, because every small sound felt louder than it should have been. The next morning, when I worked up the courage to look again, the altar was gone. The zinc sheet was back in place, the ground was clean, and there was no smell at all, like it had never existed. I told myself I imagined everything. That fear had filled in the gaps, and I tried to move on. But my neighbor still lives there. And sometimes very late at night, when the lights in his house are off, that smell comes back. Burnt leaves, sweet rot, and fear.